have your first 10K month. What next? Some things that you might be considering is getting a VA, adding upsells and packages, maybe considering a second space, maybe building your brand. All these different things can happen after your first 10K month, right? What's going on, guys? My name is Brian Waldron. In this video, we're gonna be talking about how you're gonna go from your office job to $10,000 a month in event space sales. For those who are new to the channel, my name is Brian Waldron. Did over $3.5 million in 4 years with event space brick and mortar sales. Now we run and operate the #1 event space coaching and consulting company in America that has helped over 600 clients start and scale their event space business. Let's get to it, right? So one of the biggest things that I want to talk about today is where I started and where we're going, right? I went from working office jobs, making over $10,000 a month with the rental event space sales. And then we also got that up to $150,000 a month with our previous company. And what I want to do is I want to break down exactly what we're going to be doing to help you do the same, right? These are real numbers, real lessons, no fluff, no none of that. So with that being said, how did we start? So I went to college, very fortunately. I went to college, couldn't get a job out of college, so I started working as a server to kind of just, make extra money, right? Started as a server, was working at Italian restaurants, ended up making about $360 a week, which wasn't a lot, definitely, for a 20-something-year-old coming out of college. So eventually I went to another server location and I was able to start making a little bit more. Then I got fired, right? At this point, I had saved up about $30,000 and I got my first event space. Ooh. All right, so got my first event space business. First 3 months, scary, didn't know what we were doing. Then, you're probably wondering why I even thought about getting into event spaces. So, wow, not me being a bad storyteller. I was working at an event space doing the open houses for like a year at that point. And I'm seeing the people pay like $500 for like a night. And I'm just like, whoa. I make less than that in a week working my ass off. Like, this is crazy. So I put 2 and 2 together, saved about $30,000 in a year. And then at that point, I got my own space. I went to a realtor, I went on Craigslist and stuff like that, a whole bunch of stuff that we're gonna be talking about. And I eventually got the space right there in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn, about 2,300 square feet. For all my people who were just like, oh my God, it can't work if it's small. It was about 2,300 square feet and did not know what we were doing at all. Didn't know, and I say we, but it was only me at the time. Did not know what I was doing at all. Eventually, I kind of learned about ads and like marketing and content and all that stuff. And at that point, we made $15,000 in 1 month. And I was just like, whoa. So did that, kept doing that. Eventually got that location up to like, $20,000 a month. Then we got another location, got both those locations up to like $30,000, $40,000 a month. And then COVID happened, kind of lost everything. Not lost everything, but like had to pay out of pocket for like a lot of different, things. But eventually we worked something out with the landlord where we could kind of do like a pause on the payments. And then eventually, COVID came out. Everybody came out of COVID and had our biggest month. We had like a $50,000 a month. Yeah. Had a $50,000 a month. Then we eventually got 2 more locations, and that's when we started hitting $150,000 a month, and it was up from there. It was up. We're hitting back-to-back $150,000 months, and it was just. And then that's when people during COVID and beyond, people really started kind of reach out like, hey, like how do you do this? How do you do this event space thing? And that's when Event Space Elites was born. Here we are, right? So why are event spaces such a powerful business, right? So number one, we got high demand, right? I mean, people are always looking for, and this isn't just in New York, right? And it's so crazy when people talk about, oh my God, like you can't do it in New York. I did it in New York, started in New York. What are you saying? So it's just kind of like, all right, well, with that being said, you could do it anywhere. If you could do it in New York, you could do it in California, you could do it in Georgia or any of these other big states. Like you can do it anywhere, right? So like number one, we got high demand, right? I mean, people are always having events, right? Baby showers, right? Birthday parties, right? Pop-ups, conferences, right? All these different things, right? Number two, right? Low overhead compared to how much money you can make. Like we got clients paying like $2,500 a month, making $10,000. Like that, those are great numbers, right? Like that's what we like. That's cash flow, right? You feel me? Like that's cash flow. It can be done part-time or full-time. I always recommend everybody to be, all in, right? But it can be done part-time or full-time. right? And then with that being said, like the revenue potential, like this is definitely a scalable business, right? You can get multiple locations or just kind of like, you know, multiple bookings, multiple locations, multiple bookings. Like it's super scalable, right? I mean, at one point we had 7 locations that we were building out, right? You know, so it's definitely possible, 100%, all right? So what are the numbers behind a 10K month? So I always like to look at it as kind of like a puzzle, right? So it's just like, okay, cool. You got Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and you got 4 weekends, right? So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, right? I always tell people you should be able to pay your rent and your overhead off just Saturdays alone. So if we take that model and we just multiply that by 2,500, right? So 2,500 times 4, well, that's your 10K month right there. So now it's just like, I just need to figure out how to get my Saturdays booked at 2,500. That's it, all right? And then that's not even including like upsells. That could include a package, but that's not including upsells or like big packages, things like that, right? So with that being said, like and obviously the margins depend on like, you know, your lease, your staff, how lean you run it, whatever the case may be. But it is very, very easy and very, very possible to do $10,000 a month, right? So how do we get started, right? Number one, find the right space, right? Find the space. So you already know where I'm going. I'm going on LoopNet. I'm going on Craigslist. I'm going on Crexy, right? I'm going on all these different websites, right? With that being said, right, I always like to look at between 1,500 and about 5K square feet, okay? I always like to, of course, negotiate with the rent, right? Check the zoning, check the permits, right? And then of course, now it's time to set it up, right? Get the furniture, okay? Furniture, we got chairs, tables, paint, decor, all those different things, right? And then I always like to recommend everybody for this part now with today, for everything, probably like 40 to 60,000. But it doesn't have to be your money. This is when we use like other people's money, you know, Chase, Amex, all our friends over there, things of that nature, right? So now, how do we get clients? We start with the low costs and then we go with the high costs, right? So low cost, organic content, IG, TikTok, YouTube, things of that nature. You could put a Facebook marketplace, right? We could do Facebook groups, but I always like to focus on like my zone of intelligence. So I'm always going to stay here, right? I'm going to stay with organic first, right? You got Google My Business. That's an easy one. Google My Business. You could do like little events and whatnot, things of that nature. Word of mouth, but that's not really marketing, right? High costs is, I like going Facebook ads, right? Low cost, you can also do like Peerspace and other third-party websites, but you don't own that data, so I don't like that. I like doing Facebook ads because I like to own the data of the clientele, right? Facebook ads, right? You could do Google ads. You could do other platform ads like Yelp ads, but I don't really like those because they stop working after a while. Been there, done that, right? So those are some of the bigger things that you could do, right? So my zone of genius, I'm always going to stay here and here. Organic IG and Facebook ads. That's my meta. That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm running up to the moon. Like that's what it is. What are some things that you need to know, right? Let's talk about hard lessons you need to know. I just made a video on this, so it's kind of fresh in my mind, but like hidden costs, things like maintenance, right? Wear and tear, permits, okay? Cleaning, service, different things like that, right? Bad contracting, right? If you don't have a good contract, bad contracts, that could definitely hurt you, right? Zoning and permit delays, okay? Zoning and permit delays, right? Dealing with noise complaints, okay? Systems, not having good systems, these can all be hidden costs. Now, after you have your first 10K month, what next? So now let's talk about after your first 10K. So now it's like, now where the systems come out. Some things that you might be considering is getting a VA, right? Adding upsells and packages. Add upsells and packages. Maybe considering a second space. Maybe building your brand, okay? All these different things can happen after your first 10K month, right? So just to kind of show you guys and recap for just a little bit, right? You can go from a 9 to 5 to 10K a month, right? I did it up to $150,000 a month. We have other clients who did it. We have other clients who've got it up to 10K a month, 20K a month, and some even 50K a month. You just need the right mindset, skill set, and tool set. course, the right strategies, and of course, the right coaches. So with that being said, like, you could be where you are, but you could be in a totally different place in 90 days from now, just off the right instruments and the right discipline and the right coaches, of course. And of course, with that being said, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to this video. And if you are looking to start your event space or even scale it, join Event Space Elites. Click the link in the description, and we'd love to see how we can help you get to the next level. All right, stay tuned, stay safe. Let's go.